alive. Yes, thanks, Zach, for ratting me out about sliding down a hill.
Hey, man, snow happens to everybody.
Well, worst part was wasn't really any snow on the ground. It was all just ice.
Oh, that's even worse.
Yep.
All right, we are live. Hey, everybody, welcome to Garbology again. Today we got Zach, Anthony, and Alex on the show.
What up?
So, Zach, what do you want to show us today?
Yeah, so I figured we'd go in the stick with the theme of reacting to classic and vintage videos from yesteryear. So last week we did a couple of old Dempster videos. I have a lot more in my hip pocket that we can go through, but I figured we'd change it up and go for some vintage safety videos that were produced in the late 80s, maybe early 90s. And I downloaded these videos years ago from YouTube. They've been updated by this company, Safety 2000. But I was able to get these vintage ones, and I can remember actually watching a couple of these at the company I worked for in Portland, AGG, back in 2006, 2007. As like our mandatory safety meeting. So I figured these would be kind of cool to go through. We could see some cool old trucks and kind of their mindset back in the late 80s and early 90s, and maybe compare and contrast and how safety is pushed in modern companies, since both you and Alex are modern drivers, and Anthony and I are we drive every once in a while. So, yeah. Anthony, do you got anything?
No. I'll just keep doing setting up the YouTube channel so my neighbor here can watch it with us.
Okay, cool. So just so you guys know, with my screen set up, I can't see any of you. All I can see is what I'm sharing right here. So if at any time you want to pause and comment on what we're seeing, have discussions, just scream, I guess, and hopefully I'll be able to hear it.
What is the safe word?
We need to back up. We need the parking brake noise when you want to.
Yeah, exactly.
Parking brake noise.
We can also use
Exactly.
the chat too. There's a chat on here, so if you click on Zach, well, I guess not. Maybe not.
Yeah. So like I said, because of how my screens are set up, since I'm on my laptop, I don't have two screens. So I literally am watching the video. So whatever is shared on my screen.
You perfect, Zach.
Yeah, I know you can see me, but I can't see anything else. All I can see is just what I'm sharing. So
okay, gotcha.
Yep. Okay. So if you guys are ready, let's get into it. And chat, if you have any questions or comments, we'll pause when Alex and Sean and Anthony see them, and they'll read them and we'll respond. So please participate in this, because this is for as much for you as it is for the four of us here on this podcast. So with that, I will go ahead and get started.
Regardless of the type of equipment you drive, there are hazards common to all drivers. Identifying the hazards is the first step in safety awareness. Reducing the risks of your route is accomplished by reporting potential hazards to your supervisor when you see them. A route safety analysis is a fancy title for common sense, but it's important for you to understand some of the more common hazards we see in our day-to-day operations. Identifying and eliminating the hazards are part of your job responsibility. First, pavement and sidewalk damage is a potential claim against the company. When you notice this type of damage, especially at locations being serviced for the first time, report it to management. We don't want to pay for some other person's damage. Overhead clearance problems, especially wires, are frequent hazards. Let's quickly review some basic overhead clearance procedures. However, be sure to follow your company's procedures. These are basic recommendations. Let's take a look at a driver operating a front-end loader with an overhead clearance problem.
All right, so I'll pause it right here. So, Sean, you drive front load. So, with how this driver is setting up his truck, what's the first thing that you notice about that's maybe different than modern trucks that we drive today?
The first thing I notice is different. I'm not even sure.
So that's a manual transmission truck.
But oh, is
It's
it
not
really
automatic?
How do you tell?
Yeah. So because of how he had to stop, put it into neutral to bring the forks down.
Oh, okay. I see.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
So just to move the forks, it's
So
neutral.
not just to move the forks, but you have to understand if the truck is still in drive, and granted, I have never driven a manual front loader, nor do I ever wish to, because that just sounds horrible, terrible, right? Because of how the what's that?
I said it ain't fun. We had a spare truck. I totally agree with you.
Yeah. So I think the PTO, correct me if I'm wrong, Anthony, since you've actually done this, I think the PTO can be engaged while the truck is in gear, but it's just, it's extremely sluggish and slow.
Yes. And also too, this truck probably has levers. So you have a stick. You also have levers. Like Zach said, you gotta multitask with a truck like this.
Yeah. So he probably threw it into neutral to just not make the truck move while he's bringing the forks out.
So, I mean, I'm pretty sure that those guys back then, though, probably popped it in neutral as they're rolling forward and operated while moving, probably.
Oh, absolutely. I've done that. I did that when I was in front load. If I have to pack a truck, but I don't want to like really drive, but I want the RPMs to go to the gear pump to, make the blade move faster as I'm packing, I'd throw it into neutral, especially on a Mac, which is easy to do with the actual gear shifter instead of the Allison push button. You just pop that thing into neutral and you're just, slowly rolling forward, minding your space as you're, manually packing and retracting the blade. So yeah.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
What do you got, Alex?
No, I was saying, yep.
Yep. Okay, cool.
Just to see that name.
Look at that spare body. Oh.
So Anthony, really quick, sorry. This is Joe. Is that Esco? Does that name sound familiar to you? Maybe a dealer?
Joe Esco.
Because this has got to be Midwest or East Coast for Laidlaw. This is definitely not West Coast.
Yeah, this would be probably Midwest or East Coast. Yep, that big of a truck. They ran a lot of these, and
yeah, I'm just the mud flap kind of threw me. Like Joe Esco, that doesn't really sound like a dealer name or something. I don't know.
No, it's probably see, that was that's a Dempster, or is that
it is. No, that's a Dempster.
So it's probably Dempster. So it's probably a Dempster dealer somewhere along the line, wherever Laidlaw was.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, I didn't know if that name rang a bell with you, Anthony, so I figured I'd ask.
No, I'm sure if we do some digging, I'm sure we could find it.
Yeah. I wish there was a little clearer so we can make out the script on the bottom underneath the name.
Yeah. Now, if this has got the top door should start opening up.
Well, I can see a lot going wrong with that.
Yeah. So I've heard horror stories about these top doors where the top door doesn't close and the driver take off and they knock out power lines and all kinds of crazy stuff.
Yeah. So the top door was activated by a solenoid on the arm. Basically, it would activate so there would be piece of welded metal on the arm bar, the torsion bar that connects the two pieces of arm, and as the arm would rotate, it would basically activate that solenoid, which would tell the top door to open. And a lot of times, just like Anthony said, there's been a lot of horror stories where that door doesn't come down, and that thing is like full metal, and you'll hear as we continue the video, as that door is coming down, as the arms come down, that thing just slams on the top of the truck because there's, there wasn't a whole lot of cushioning. So basically, as a driver, like I can just imagine as I'm bringing the arm down, you hear the crash, and it's just like something that's jarring and would be super annoying.
So I didn't catch it, but is that top door also the canopy of the truck?
Yes.
No.
Oh, it's not.
Not the canopy. It's not the canopy, not the cap shield. No. So so this isn't something that we talked about last week, Sean, but I think if you look right here, a lot of these early front loaders, because they didn't have the spot mirrors on the driver's mirror assembly that we have today, where the driver can basically look out and look up and see the position of the arms and the can as it's rotating into the hopper, they would have these things called a caboscope.
Right.
So basically it was a cutout above the driver's head with a mirror prism. Basically it was a mirror system where the driver would basically look up as he's dumping, and he could see the position of the container in the arm as he's dumping. Yeah.
So you want to hear something really funny? So you showed me this video last Friday, right?
Yeah. It was a couple weeks ago.
Right. So on Monday of this week, I went and seen a truck that actually operated just like that.
Where?
Right out on my route. I was talking to Alex, and I was like, Alex, dude, this truck just did exactly like this truck Zach showed me. It did the exact same thing. And
was it a Casella truck?
No, it was another company.
Did you get pictures?
No. It
Why
went
are
too
you
fast.
useless?
I mean, that's Sean for you.
Hey man, hey man, pictures or it didn't happen. As the saying goes.
I say to him all the time, bro. Every time he's bragging about something, I'm like, yo, send new pics.
Alex, what the heck?
Well, if you remember the company, text it to me, and Anthony and I will do a little research, and maybe we'll send you over there. Or maybe when I come up later this month on Sunday, you and I can do some exploring.
Right. Yeah, I know company it is.
The private hauler actually must run it still, so it's got to be driving around somewhere in that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'll be there Monday again, so I should be able to see it.
Get some pictures of it if you can.
I'll try. Yeah.
Yeah. There was no try. There was only do.
Oh, he didn't get listed.
I just yoded you. Anyway.
That's your orders. I got a good story for you guys on this truck at another time. I'm not.
All right. After this truck's done putting this container away and backing up, Anthony, I'll pause it again. You can tell the story. Oh,
the
there we go.
container was identified with the hazard.
Yep, all the things. Good for you, company. What do you got, Anthony?
So that particular truck, not going to say what city or who the hauler is, but this guy is no longer around anymore because he passed away. But he was telling me a story. He got one of these trucks a long time ago, and he was driving down the street, forgot the top door was up, and picked up all the cable wires and power lines down this one city street, this one city. And he said that he pulled the truck over and threw the wires inside the body, and he shut the top door, and he parked the truck the next day, and the cops came and asked him, we were told that you took all the wires down. He says, where are all the wires? They said, you can climb up and look, but there's nothing in the truck. And they climbed up halfway and said, no, we're not going to look inside the body. So he said that there was a mechanical function on the truck, and he said that to this day nobody knows who took those wires down. This happened probably back in 1960s. So
been there and done that.
Yes, you have, Sean. Yes, you have.
You throw them things in the truck and you just.
Yep.
I definitely give people free tree trimming all the time and just pack their branches in my truck. I mean, you know,
I do that all the time.
I mean, that's just a city service at that point.
Yeah, we do tree trimming here at our company. So
yeah,
company is Casella.
When you got guys that run Crotto cans, they take trees limbs off the tree and they just
or
go
bridges
on top of the truck and get rid of the evidence.
Or bridges.
I've seen that happen.
Oh man.
Anyway, we digress.
But don't assume there's no hazard because the container doesn't have a warning on it. The driver backed the vehicle out from under the clearance, dumped the load, then returned the container. The ever-present congestion and tight space and backing out require extra caution. Watch out for wires that could snag on the vehicle or
I was muted, sorry. So there's that caboscope right there.
Oh, yep, I see it.
Yep.
Yeah, that's also fail for not having a seatbelt on. That must be Sean's dad right there.
Hey man, I never wore my seatbelt when I drove front load.
And it's probably Zach's brother because it looks like a bull.
Yeah, remember? See, back then when this video was taken, they didn't have seatbelt rules back then.
Yeah.
For trucks.
There's seatbelt rules.
Late 80s, early 80s.
Late 80s, probably. Yeah, this is probably like, I want to say 88, 89, maybe 90, 91.
Wait a minute.
Time frame.
There's seatbelt rules.
Anyway, continuing.
Container as you back out. Don't forget about the hopper doors. You'll notice this operator made sure the hopper was closed before returning the container to the shipping dock. Common sense, but you have to think about the problem before you take action to prevent an accident. Be sure to report all clearance problems to management so they can be identified. You may not be the only person to drive this route, and the information you provide can help others prevent accidents. Use caution.
See, I would never put a container on a dock away like that. I'd throw it all the way to the ground, back up, and then I just get enough English with my forks inside the container to tilt it back, lift it up. So that way I'm providing as much space and I don't have to tip my arms up or bring my arms up as much to put that container back on the dock. Because God, you hit anything on a dock, I mean, that's
especially that right
thousands
there.
of dollars worth of damage.
Right. Yeah, I'm lucky. I don't have no dock landings. I don't have to put nothing back on a dock.
They're fun.
You're lucky.
They're super fun.
Yeah.
Okay. I have to put one back up against the loading dock, but not onto a dock. So.
Or how about all those guys that always put those freaking cans in a enclosed corral that's literally only leaving you like a foot on each side, and it has a roof to it.
Yeah.
We have those
with no casters on it, so you can't yank it out. Yeah.
You got to drag it out.
And of course they give you the truck with the 3.5 foot forks. So, not the 5.5 or 6 foot forks.
Yeah.
See, I got lucky.
I have
I
some
had
cans
the
I have to
long
drag out.
forks that ran Corrado, so I could snake those cans out of a corral where the other guys couldn't do that. So I had to watch how I put them back in for the next guy to pick up.
Do we care about the next guy though? Yeah, we care about the next guy. Because
depends on if he works
no. You turn the can sideways on the next guy.
I mean, Anthony, weren't you the one that started Trash Wars back in the day? So I doubt you were that nice.
Yeah, you jammed
that
back in there.
was competitors.
Yeah. Yeah. Set the next guy up for success.
Different.
Common courtesy. Common courtesy. Yeah.
I had a good front load guy that I worked with because him and I would get at the same places for the first 2 hours, and so he would do he'd do cardboard, I would do trash. So he would pull my containers on, I put his containers back in, and we made it so we could both work. If it, like you said, if you got a guy that don't want to work with you, it just makes your life hell. And then you just got to be an asshole, and you just got to start doing whatever you can to make his job hard.
Fisticuffs.
Yep.
Yeah.
When picking up containers from shipping or loading docks, you have the container, the forklift, and the overhead clearance hazards to think about. The container wheels can easily be damaged by not watching what you're doing. You can destroy the forks on the front end loader going under an overpass or other obstructions with the forks up.
That's a
overhead beams are particularly hazardous. Damage to a structure is extremely costly to repair, not to mention the damage to the vehicle. Front loaders and roll-offs have damaged many overhead beams, pipes, and structures. Okay, you have the idea on overhead clearances, but let's quickly review some of the rules. Constantly check for adequate clearances of the container, the hopper, and the truck itself, especially in tight spaces.
Left, right, up, and down.
Don't move with your forks raised. Keep your mirrors and windows clean. Report all property damage at the location to prevent the owners from thinking you caused the damage. Report all truck defects and alert management to potential problems. And of course, don't take chances. Okay, while we're on the subject, let's talk a bit about container accessibility. If you've been in the business any length of time, you know what a hassle it can be. Containers can be blocked by cars or overfilled. These container problems cause injuries. They can delay a route, they can cause equipment damage, the community image may be damaged, or you can lose a customer. Waste hauler drivers commonly cause damage to...
Do drivers care about community waste image?
We just care about getting the job done.
Yeah.
Get it all cleaned
I'm just saying.
Go home.
Right.
And that's an easy stop there. That's not really a bad stop. That's a normal stop.
We don't
That's
know
just
what's
a
above
stab.
them. We don't know what's above them.
That's what she.
Finish it, Alex.
Gates, parked cars, overhangs, walls, pavement, gas or electric meters, bump into poles, and a host of other accidents.
So he backed out
It's an
because he was blocking the
industry-wide
street.
problem, but there are things you can do to help reduce property damage and injuries. Drivers must be careful approaching all containers as the environment changes from time to time, and taking a location for granted can be a mistake. Many containers are placed next to buildings. Approach the container with caution. Get out of the truck if necessary to ensure a safe pickup. When setting the
containers are set next to buildings, that's the fault of the salespeople.
I don't want to talk about salespeople on this channel.
Yeah, I have a lot. I have a lot of cans near buildings.
Yeah.
Or in driveways, or in alleys.
Or in driveways. Yeah. Alleyways.
Yeah. Anyway,
I pick one right up. I drive right up near a building and grab one.
Yeah.
And tip it right there where it sets.
Nice.
Container down, think about the next time it must be picked up. Make it as easy as possible. The customer has a responsibility to provide stable access to our containers. Report any damage or potentially hazardous containers to management. Parked cars are probably the most common obstacle. Try to find the owner and politely ask them to move it if possible. If not, ask your dispatcher for instructions. Overloaded containers are difficult to service. Report the overloaded containers to your supervisor, as the customer may need more frequent service or larger containers.
Oh, that's called a route
This solves the overloaded container problem and increases business. Report broken casters or poorly positioned containers. They can be the source of an injury to children or people walking near the container. It's a never-ending problem, but you can help.
Just carry casters in your building.
If you notice an accessibility problem, such as a compactor with a broken door or damaged cover, report it, as children can enter and become injured. Before you move your truck, know what's behind you, in front of you, and on either side of you. Visibility is critical. If you can't see, get out of the truck to make sure the way is clear before moving. Pay close attention to the condition of the containers and roll-off boxes. Defective lids, rollers, sleeves, casters, hinges, rusted-out containers, and damaged doors must be reported. Not only damage to the containers is possible, potential safety hazards exist with defective containers. Compactors have special hazards, such as dangling or exposed electrical wiring. Extremely dirty or filthy areas must be reported and corrected before they become health hazards. Compactors with missing guards, oil leaks, and missing access doors can be serious safety hazards. Absence of anchor bolts, damaged chutes, and decals are also potential problems that need correcting. Last but not least is the child safety problem. Children are attracted to the mechanics.
So you remember what I talked about when I had my video a couple weeks ago about the weird trucks?
Yeah.
I talked about that Westco jet truck where the arms split the two cabs in the middle. That's that truck.
Oh, really?
That's the back end of that truck. That's a Westco jet front loader right there.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
So it's got like tractor trailer style doors.
So
they open like that.
Yeah. So we call them barn doors. We refer to them as barn doors. Yeah. So this is an old picture, probably taken in like the early 80s, maybe late 70s.
Wow.
Or it's a truck that is still being used, but this is definitely Southern California.
Where's all this, the East Coast stuff? Come on, all this SoCal stuff.
Hey, man, we've seen a whole bunch of Dempsters. That's East Coast love.
Okay. You missed it.
Never heard of them until you
weren't here.
Episode, so
you were still sleeping at that point.
Okay.
And noise of our trucks and equipment. Pay special attention to children and make sure they are clearly out of harm's way before you begin pickup service or when setting a container down. On roll-offs, think what would happen if a cable snapped. Where would the container go? Into a house, building, or where children were standing and watching? It's a big responsibility. Be alert for hazardous waste on your route, such as batteries, paint, oil, and all other unauthorized chemicals and materials. Report any suspicious hazardous waste to management. If you're not sure, ask management. Okay, we're loaded and off to the landfill. Driving safely to the landfill is important, but when you reach the disposal site, some more special precautions are in order. The physical conditions at a landfill are different and require special driving skills. Extremely hot and dry conditions create vision problems due to dust. Drive slowly and watch out for others who may have their vision blocked. Watch for bumpy road conditions. Take it easy. If you or your helpers get out of the truck, don't wander away from the truck. Stick close by because the traffic is likely to be heavy and the other drivers may not see you walking. Use a spotter if one is available when you're backing or maneuvering to dump a load. Think about the spotter's safety also. When driving on rough or uncovered surface areas, drive slowly as the undercarriage of the vehicle can be damaged, which could be severe enough to cause downtime. In wet weather, the road conditions are worse and the hazard potential is multiplied.
No kidding.
You can get stuck or even turn the truck over. Be sure the ground will support the load and weight of the truck. If you do get stuck, don't try to rock the vehicle by going forward and reverse.
Yeah, like
Did you try to do that, Alex?
Absolutely. I was, I salted the road. I even sanded it, and I let her get all the ketchup.
No, did you ever rock a body to try to get the trash out, Alex?
Oh yeah, all the time. I mean, especially the landfill.
I'm gonna say we've all done it. We've all done it.
I've never dumped it at a landfill. All my stops have always been like the West Coast. Like it's very rare for, especially in the Pacific Northwest, for you to actually go to a landfill. You always go to a transfer station and they take care of the trash for you after that. I mean,
you're definitely missing out then.
Bragging, but you know.
I mean, well, I mean, you can't be a true garbage man unless you go into a landfill once.
One time, you got to come drive a truck.
Yeah, I mean, go ride with Sean, and he'll teach you how to do it. You know.
Yeah, super fast.
I hear he's a good teacher and helper.
Like he finishes 2 routes in a day. Like he's.
I mean, rock star status right there. They should make you a supervisor.
If he was a supervisor, he wouldn't be in a truck then.
Yeah,
exactly. They need 4 guys to replace him.
Yeah, okay. More like 1. Or maybe half of 1 because they show up on time.
They're all as fast as Alex.
Yeah, and get towed out. What may be okay in dry weather may be hazardous in wet weather. When dumping your load, keep in mind there will be more force on the tailgate the tighter the load is packed. During the trip to the landfill, the garbage moved around and may have expanded. Stand away from the tailgate when dumping the load and make sure no one is standing in the way of the load. Stand to one side when releasing the tailgate. Never walk under the hopper while it is elevated or drive your vehicle away from the dumping face with the hopper in the elevated position. Helpers should never ride on the back steps of the trucks at landfills. They should remain in the cab if there is a landfill spotter. If there is no spotter, one helper should assist the driver from the left rear side of the truck while backing. After dumping, scrape off any remaining debris from the packing blade and then stand to the side of the truck while closing the tailgate. Secure the tailgate lugs and fold them in so they do not protrude beyond the truck body. Don't forget to clean out behind the packing blade, as this has caused many truck fires. Traffic at the landfill can get heavy from time to time, in addition to the landfill equipment. Traffic is heavy at the entrance and exit also, so you need to use extra caution and drive slowly and be alert. Follow the posted rules at the landfill and follow the spotter's directions. If there is no spotter and the face of the fill is crowded, it's safer to dump out on the end of the face, where one side of your truck is not exposed to traffic.
Or just in the middle.
Roll-off drivers should be especially careful when removing the container cover, so as not to slip and fall. Check your truck before leaving the landfill.
Do you guys do this?
Huh?
Do you like
for tires?
stick your head underneath the
I do.
chassis?
I do.
Alex does. Alex just starts going underneath this truck. He climbs underneath it right in the landfill.
Not in the landfill, no. They have a hard road on the outside where you park it. You go around, do your tire inspection. You make sure there's no debris hanging under your chassis. And then you continue on your day.
Good job, Alex. You're
Yeah, you're going to do a job, do the job right. Come on now.
Yeah.
I check my tires.
Yeah, barely.
No, I check my tires.
You get out and kick it.
I don't want to kick a stone out. No, that's a few other drivers we have working for us.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Sean, I've
The
seen
rule of thumb is you don't get out of your truck when it's raining, see?
Oh.
If it's 30 blowing wind, you don't get out. You know, that's how it works.
Well, I mean, here in New York, we have rumble strips in our county. So, I mean, we just drive down the middle of the road and get the tires over it. So it kicks any of that debris out while we're driving down the highway. It's fine.
Yeah.
There you go.
They don't care
Those
if
are
there's
nice.
trash in the road.
Those rumble strips, I have seen those. Those are actually really nice.
Yeah.
Not really.
Yeah.
They break their road down way too.
They serve their purpose for stupid drivers and or garbage trucks.
I was gonna say they definitely help when you start falling asleep.
Anyway, continuing.
Inspect the tires and undercarriage for damage. That's a lot of rules to remember, but these are common sense safety rules, and they are part of your responsibility as solid waste professionals. It makes good sense, and all it takes is a good attitude and following the rules. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So what's crazy
I love
about that
ringing
is
sound. Doing, 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 doing.
what's crazy is though is that like honestly, most of those safety tips are still in use today. I mean, for the majority of waste,
They definitely are.
It hasn't really changed over the years. It's just
No, I mean it's common sense doesn't really change.
Well, I mean, it does when you're a zoomer or a beta or whatever they call it now.
Sure.
Well, you got to remember though too, the generation we have now, it's not the old farm kid that you can hop in a truck and go do the job, fix the truck, do everything you can. You know, we don't have it no more. Those days are gone.
Yeah.
So,
now our drivers back into stuff and then just leave.
Or they hit and just go and take out a line of cars or back into a fence or turn a corner and sideswipe a vehicle and just keep going.
I mean, I've seen some drivers where, like, if there's a corral where they have to open up the doors, they'll get out of their truck, they'll open up the corrals, they'll go and they'll service their can, and they'll put it back, and then they'll just leave. They won't close the corral doors, and that just baffles my mind. I've seen that a lot with municipalities. Like City of Tacoma always used to do that, and I was like, why the fuck don't you guys close the doors? And they're like, oh well, the customer will do that. But, like my mindset was, I always like it would like my goal was to make it like I wanted to be as quiet and ninja-like as possible, to where I was in there and the customer didn't even know that I serviced their container, and like I left everything as it was, because and then they call the dispatch, be like, your guy didn't come service my container. Be like, yeah, actually he did. Go check it. Oh, it's empty. Oh, he did.
Yeah.
Man, he's quiet, right? You know, it's like it's almost like a point of pride.
Right. We get that a lot. We get a lot of customers that call and say, "Hey, your driver didn't service us," and then,
actually, I did.
I'm kind of the exact opposite. If I gotta come in on a Saturday and a holiday weekend, I'm on someone's fire lane at 2 a.m. making as much noise as possible. I'm not gonna.
Yeah, which you can do in Bridgeport.
Well, luckily I ain't driving one of them in a long time.
Okay. Luckily.
Yeah, luckily, I mean, they were outstanding vehicles.
Yeah. Cool. All right. So we got about half an hour left. So we can go two ways. I got another video like this one that is specific to front load, or we can go with a video that recently surfaced that has been floating around in the community this week that kind of is kind of like an educational video that talks about the like how trash is picked up in the municipal, like residential aspect of stuff that probably might interest you, Alex.
Well, unfortunately, my kid just texted me that he needs me to come pick him up, so I will be right back. It's only about a 5-minute trip there and back, so give me about 15 minutes, and I'll be right back with you guys. Okay.
All right.
You want me to just leave the thing and rejoin?
Yeah. I can resend it to you. Right. Whatever. All right. All right, buddy.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, if you want to show that video, though, I definitely want to see it.
Oh, have you not seen it yet?
No, I haven't seen it yet. Anthony said it's on his page, but I can't find it. I went and looked for it earlier.
Okay. Well, let's take a 2-minute break. Let me run to the bathroom, and then I'll come back. So you and Anthony talk. Has there been any chatter in the chat verse at all?
We got these guys are great. Love them. Love these guys. Live chat.
Awesome. How many people we got watching right now? I can't see the live chat.
We have 5 watching.
5 watching.
Yes.
Awesome. Well, hey guys, if you're watching, throw some love in the chat. Let us know who you are.
Yeah. Hit that one.
Yeah, ask us who you work for and where you're from.
Exactly. I'll be right back, guys.
In chat, you got any questions? Definitely hit us up. We'll answer whatever you guys have.
I'm gonna ask my neighbor. I'm gonna see if my neighbor approves. He's sitting right next to me watching the YouTube while I'm on here. So,
does he approve? Is the question.
What do you think? Well, we get more. So what we're doing is every week we're gonna put stuff on to educate people, like photos.
They're pretty dangerous shit.
Okay, well. So I got a thumbs up from my neighbor. So we obviously got something. He said the videos were really informative, really good to see. He's a railroad guy, so he knows the safety stuff also.
Oh, all right. That's cool. Railroad is cool.
Well, like I said, if one night, if I could catch a train coming into town, maybe we could do an actual live watching the train come through on chat.
Right. With chat.
That'd be kind of cool.
If chat wants to watch the train come through. Are you pretty close to a railroad station?
Yeah, I'm 2 blocks away.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
But we get one train. One train only comes in one time a night, or one time a day.
Okay, so it's not like a super busy railroad.
No, we used to be one of the largest railroads in the United States at one time. That's why our town's called the Hub City.
And now you only get one train.
Yeah. Well, the railroads merged, and then they closed the doors, and then they shut our shop down that works on the trains. So my neighbor showed me. So we had 4 ways out of our town for trains to come in and out.
Okay.
At one time.
That's pretty cool.
Chicago, Omaha, Minneapolis, and Kansas City.
All right. Zach, you want to become a train conductor?
What's that?
I asked Zach if he wanted to become a train conductor.
In
They don't have a life. You think
in
garbage
terms of
men don't
what?
have a life? Be a trainer.
Just driving a train.
Well, that'd be an engineer because the conductor sits at the back.
Oh, okay, yeah. Then the
Engineer.
Then.
Yeah, get your
I don't
facts
know
straight, Sean.
I'm sorry. I don't know about trains.
You're talking to
You
a
want to
trainer
drive
on.
No, I'm good.
it?
I'm
It's a
good.
long drive.
I'll be a garbage man. I don't want to be a train guy. They don't have a life.
Yeah. All right. Are we ready to start the next video?
Yeah, throw it up.
Okay.
When you pull into town, your rest time starts.
Oh, okay. Yeah, my neighbor said when the train comes to town, their rest time starts, and then when they leave, they gotta go back out.
Oh, okay.
That's crazy.
Yeah, they just don't have a life. Our president of the Railroad Museum, I think he's about ready to retire here for a long. He's just they don't have a life. They only get like 2 days off, and
That's crazy.
they'll run 13-hour days sometimes on the train. So
Cool. So we're not going to watch all of this.
just the high points, right?
Just the high points. Yeah, probably the first 7-8 minutes of it. But this is
the rest of it's not really.
Yeah, exactly. So we can get into a little bit of history, but like in the 60s and 70s, like everybody was trying to figure out the best way to deal with all the trash from the baby boomer generational explosion outside the cities, the suburbs and whatnot. And a lot of it was either, correct landfill management. And I say correct because there were a lot of companies that would just, a lot of them own land and they just go pick the stuff up and then they just go dump it in their backyard. And a lot of that leachate would seep into the water table system, right? And especially in where you live, Sean, in upstate New York, that was a really big problem, right? Just proper disposal of waste, right? Because they didn't know what they didn't know. So landfill technology is basically its own science and degree, especially in finding the correct land, prepping the land, prepping the site in terms of like all the different layers, building in the infrastructure to harvest the methane from those sites. So that way you have renewable gas, right? Which is typically LNG. So waste management, especially in Southern California and the San Diego area, they ran a lot of their trucks on LNG. And I'm not sure, because I'm not a scientist or super smart on this, what the difference in between an LNG and a CNG truck is in terms of how they operate. If the engineering behind it is different,
right?
But like to me, if we want to talk about renewable energy and everything, like landfills, because of the energy that they can pull from just the gas that is released from the rotting trash, you can power cities, you can power trucks, all this thing, and it's clean burning. It's not, so it's more efficient than just regular quote fossil fuels, but it takes a lot. There's a lot of infrastructure. There's a lot more infrastructure behind it than just fossil fuels. So
right. Yeah, so they're actually prepping a cell at our landfill, and they've been prepping it probably for like 5 months or almost a year now.
Yeah.
So it takes some time to put a cell in.
Yeah, but so when we were talking a couple weeks ago on our Sunday podcast with you guys, the Anthony and I's first, when we were talking about how you're talking about the consolidation of privates into getting bought out by the publics, right? You're the nationally traded organizations. Like the collection aspect of it is very small when you're talking about the liquidity of a company, right? Like if you own a landfill and you own the rights to it, and like that is gold,
right?
And these guys, the nationals go after the companies that own landfills, and they kind of measure their, their gold bar stacks by how many landfills they own, because you own the landfills, you potentially own the tipping fee and all that stuff. And if you are the one company that, owns it, and you have all these other different privates that come in, you're making the money on the back end.
Right. Yep.
For very little overhead, potentially.
Yeah.
So, anyway,
it's just crazy to how much goes in.
Yeah. So this kind of goes into like the incineration aspect, which has fallen, unfortunately, out of favor because of all the environmentalist groups that are out there that just kind of push stuff with no real truth data behind it, because it's damaging the ozone and the CO2 levels and blah 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 and all this stuff, right? Even though you look at and I'm gonna political soapbox here, and I apologize. You look at, but it needs to be said, the mismanagement of the forests in Southern California has directly led to the devastating forest fires and wildfires that we saw in Southern California over the past month, right?
Yeah.
The amount of carbon dioxide and quote pollution that was sent up into the atmosphere as a result of those fires undid, I think, don't quote me on this, but I heard 18 years of clean energy things that California has done for the environment.
Wow.
One wildfire.
That's
one wildfire set, right?
Yeah.
So when we're talking, but so incinerators are can be good, and there were test models out there where you can basically harvest the energy and the steam and the byproducts from burning garbage, but you lose. So energy isn't static over time, right? So if you have to send that energy through pipes to a generator style facility that can harvest that energy, the longer the distance traveled, the decay rate of that energy exponentially increases. So unless you're going to have that generation facility specifically at the incinerator, it's really not that super effective. It gets rid of the trash, and you have a little bit of byproduct that you can just, then landfill. And trust me, the United States has a crap ton of land that we can use for landfill. Like it's not a matter of running out of space. We can never run out of space.
Right.
But if we want to be economical in how we burn garbage, burn stuff that we can't reuse. Massive echo.
Yep, I got.
If we can't reuse.
Alex, turn on your echo.
It's not letting me do anything else. This can't be changed while recording.
Let me try to go.
I didn't have an option to turn it on before I entered, so.
Hello.
Still got an echo or no?
Yeah, I'm still getting an echo, but as I was saying with the incinerators, back in the 60s, sure. Cool, no echo, thank you. Back in the 60s, sure. How incinerators were being used back then, the technology wasn't there. How it is now with how we can capture that energy that we are using from burning refuse that cannot be recycled, that's got to be one way that we can explore it. But I don't think, but with all the environmental lobbies and maybe the new administration will like cut the red tape to allow us to explore it, and kind of just like, push down like the environmentalist voice that isn't always correct, but they're they're the loudest. They're the loudest voice in the room, right? There are multiple ways to skin this cat, is what I'm saying. And this was kind of one video from the 70s where they're talking about a little bit of this. Alex, thanks for coming back in. I can't see you because I'm screen sharing and all I can see is the video. But we're not going to go into all of this because we can spend an entire month of daily podcasts talking about how to handle what happens after we collect the waste. I want to focus on the different methodologies of collecting the waste, and they kind of go into this. So if anybody has any other comments, we'll go ahead and get started on the video. We'll watch probably about 7-8 minutes of it. I think is appropriate for this venue.
Okay,
cool.
Check it out. Yep.
All right. And this video is on YouTube. You can view it at any time. And these guys are awesome. They have a lot of really cool content on their channel.
You're looking at the garbage explosion. Americans throw away 4 billion tons of garbage every year. If that figure is hard to grasp, think of it as 5.5 pounds per day for every man, woman, and child.
Leech Packmaster.
In the next few minutes, we're going to talk to some thoughtful, practical experts in the solid wastes industry and take a serious look at how they're handling the garbage explosion. Here we are in Kansas City, Missouri, on Refuse Collection Day, where the homemakers and their assistants take the garbage out to the curb in bags.
So they're single sort recycle.
Has been in a bag system since March 1971.
Recycle
and today,
at the curb.
142,000 homes are collected on a once-a-week basis. These bags represent a step forward, according to Al Beck, operations engineer for the Kansas City Public Works Department.
Effective utilization of the bag system in any city depends upon a cooperative effort of the homeowner, the collector, and the city administration.
However, Mr. Beck cautions that it's essential to use the bags properly, especially since the collection schedules may be cut because of the current fuel shortage. So make sure the bags are filled to capacity and make sure they're tied securely to keep animals from spreading the contents around.
So that lets me know that this was right around the big OPEC oil boom of the late 70s, right? If they're talking about, fuel shortages, right? You had all the lines and whatnot.
Right.
That's why. So a lot of companies and cities actually looked into, during this time frame, switching to propane as the fuel source for their garbage trucks.
Right. Hmm.
Yeah.
Now, do you think they would share this video again with the world so they'd understand tie their bags? Tie your freaking bag.
Yeah.
What the heck?
Yeah.
We find out real quick that they didn't tie it.
Yeah. Well, I love the businesses that I pick them up and they've just thrown those packing peanuts in there.
Mm-hmm.
And you go to dump it, and it's just like it's like a snow explosion out of your hopper. And of course, where I always worked, it was always windy, so it would like carry it down the parkway, the parking lot at like 3 a.m. in the morning. And I'm like, not my problem.
Or styrofoam.
Didn't bag it,
right? Or styrofoam.
Yeah,
styrofoam is just as bad.
So I think that. Like styrofoam is the worst, and like packing companies should abolish the use of styrofoam because you can't recycle it, and to properly dispose of it in the garbage, like it's not going to break down in the landfill. Like it is the most it is the most ineffective long-term packing material in the world.
Yeah.
I hate it.
Yeah, it's terrible.
Especially when I buy if I buy a TV or anything big, then you got the big giant fucking things, and I got to break it down just to fit my fucking trash can. It's like, ugh.
Yeah.
Yeah, but unfortunately, it's very so it's not going to break it down.
I know.
Right. And then when we pack it, it like blows into little pieces and just goes up in the air like
it doesn't pack. It's like packing like
we call that snow.
Yeah.
You want to see some real snow? Come on now.
Dump a can full of peanuts and let
Yeah,
it blow.
you're the ice
Let it
expert,
explode
and
or
you're the
something.
ice expert, Alex. You're the ice expert.
Hold on a second.
We just had
You
ice.
just
this
call me
week.
Iceman.
The ice.
Anyway,
Change your
I
name.
continue. We
Oh,
digress.
That's
We
an Air
continue.
Force joke. Come on, buddy. Oh, sorry, it wasn't Navy joke.
The bag system has been highly satisfactory for residents and collectors alike.
Get your
There's
services
less weight to
correct.
handle.
So that's a
It takes
Packmore.
20% less time to collect.
Yeah, I was just
And the
gonna say, I
neighborhood
looked at
streets
old
stay
Packmore.
cleaner and neater after pickup.
What'd you say, Anthony? Sorry.
I said that's definitely an old Packmore.
Yep, definitely no Packmore. Probably like a
We had
200
we had two
R
of them.
200 series.
Yeah.
In Garland, Texas, they use the bag system too. And they have their own unique system for collecting the bags.
If that
This
ain't
train.
dangerous,
With a train.
What's that?
if that wasn't dangerous, then they wonder how many
No.
guys get killed because they fall off those things.
Yeah.
I just jumped off and ran.
So there are actually a lot of manufacturers marketed this train system. So Lodall, Dempster,
I think
Easy
they were the
Pack.
only two, I think, that really pushed it.
What's that?
Loadmaster and Dempster were kind of really the two that really pushed
So
it.
not Loadmaster, but Lodall.
Yeah.
Lodall.
Yeah.
And they really capitalized on that with their initial Lamb version or Lamb version we could talk about later. But Lodall, Dempster, Easy Pack, couple like most of the nationals aside from Heil, who got into the front load game relatively late, they really marketed this as like a cost-effective way to handle curbside trash, because there's no packing, there's no packing at the the site. It was you didn't have to, and the investment into like you have a single like call it a half ton, 3/4 ton
system. One man.
Sorry, 3/4 ton truck that would pull this train along, and then you'd have the front loader, as we'll see here in a minute. Basically the just radio operated. Hey, I'm ready. I'm at this street. Cool. The truck will come pick up the individual dumpsters that they're pulling along beside them. But you have 4 or 5 of these running throughout the city, and it was pretty effective.
Yeah, I could see it working.
Yeah, I mean,
could definitely see it working.
you look at a lot of the small mom and pop guys that are doing this today. They're kind of doing this system, but it's just a single, like a pickup truck. Right, and they don't have a mother truck.
Yeah,
that's a whole nother discussion that we could get into about the trailers and the pickups now.
Yeah,
it's a fad now for some reason. It's just really taken off.
Just because it's a low cost, low cost method, right? Because you don't have to invest in packer trucks, which are usually expensive. Multiple packer trucks. You only have to invest in one packer truck, so one front loader to service. And I think some of the literature that I've seen out there is a single, what they call mother truck here, that you'll see can service the collection route of up to probably four trains in a neighborhood, right? But the mother truck's the one that's going to the landfill and dumping the trash while they're also going out and picking up commercial stops at the same time. So. And these were usually like anywhere from 5 to 6 cubic yard capacity trailers that they're pulled. But, you think, cool. So I'm buying, just basically dumpsters that are on wheels with a trailer attachment to it that I can pull along a train. And I'm investing, $1,000 into a 3/4 ton or 1 ton pickup truck to just basically haul these. And, oh, by the way, I can use that pickup truck for a variety of other route issue needs at the same time.
Right.
So.
And can easily collect from both sides of the street, since the plastic bags have made the work easier, according to Superintendent of Sanitation Ken Smith. As each car is fully loaded, it is separated from the train, picked up and unloaded by the mother truck. This large sanitation vehicle, equipped with forklift, simply lifts up the little cars and dumps the content.
So this is the Easy Pack grasshopper arm style front loader. And a couple of weeks ago, we were talking about how Dempster held the gooseneck, the traditional like front load style arms that, start at the base of the body and, wrap around the arms. They held that patent over everybody for years. And we talked about how, the West Coast guys, they had to have the suicide arms to just, like not break the patent. But Easy Pack, the designer of this arm actually helped design the first Dempster front loader, but then he left Dempster and went to Easy Pack. He designed this workaround where the arms were anchored at the top of the body just to basically get around the patent. So Easy Pack ran this style of truck started this in the 60s, and they ran all the way up to the 80s until they did the more traditional gooseneck style arms. So, or over the cab arms. So a lot of companies adopted this, and you will see this especially in Florida and the Southwest, Midwest, Northeast. So, and apparently even Arizona has this. The video alludes to, but yeah, it's a super unique style, and this style actually translated to Australia, where there's a lot of Easy Pack made moves to sell their style of truck in Australia, actually, going back to the guy you interviewed from Australia, Sean.
Right. That's
yeah. So it's just kind of cool.
Right.
But the cool thing about this is this style and how this guy set this up is instead of having to level the can as you're raising it above your cab, it was a single pole, and there was a rod in the top part of the boom that auto leveled the can as it's being raised up. So the driver never had to worry about the can being level as he's raising it up, which is kind of cool.
Right.
Into an open back. The empty car will rendezvous with another two-man train, be rehitched, and go on to the next collection area. Now let's discover how plastic bags
here we
allow
go.
one machine and one man.
So here's the Gulf MBR
to collect garbage from between 900 and 1,000 homes per day. The man runs a collection vehicle called.
And this was actually filmed in Council Bluffs, Iowa.
Okay.
So here you go.
Your new truck.
Alex, here's your new truck.
GFSF.
Here you go. Let's watch out. And I think this is probably. I think after this we'll discontinue there because I think this is the last truck they show. But 70s, they're showing. So you got to remember that the late 70s when this is being filmed. This is like the this was the late 60s with Scottsdale. That was the birth of automation. Everybody's trying to figure out the best way to tackle this issue of, hey, what is the most efficient way that I can pick up curbside refuse now that we've exploded outside the suburbs? And hey, guess what? By the way, new suburbs with residential developers are being built, every 6 months. Right. So, these guys are adding, new streets, new divisions to their route, every 6 months as these residential developers are, building these houses and selling them, and people are, moving out there. So this is, like I said in the video a couple of weeks ago, this is like one of the early things to try and get after and tackle that problem of one man picking up residential trash, right? Is this the most effective? No. But this truck and system was not pioneered, but it was funded and developed by Gulf, which was a oil manufacturer that was trying to get after like heavy duty garbage bags. Like the guy said in the beginning, he was like, hey, we'll just leave the bags at the street. We're not going to do necessarily carted style collection. So how do we get after what is the most efficient way that a single driver can pick up bags left by the customer on the street without getting out of the truck? And this was one of the crazy ideas that was come up with. So I think they show this truck operating for another minute.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
The mechanical bag retriever, or MBR. The MBR was designed by Gulf oil engineers to cut down on manpower and operating costs. The crane arm swoops down and cages the bags, then lifts the bags and deposits them on a conveyor belt. The belt moves the bags to the back of the truck. We've seen some modern methods of collecting garbage. How do we dispose of it once collected? The answer is 90% of all municipal wastes are returned to the land in fill sites. Of all these fill sites, only 6% are operated as sanitary landfills. A strong advocate of this method is Mr. Beck of Kansas City, Missouri, who describes some of the criteria for a good landfill.
Okay, cool. So we saw a couple other trucks there, but
that's the landfill.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, though, like to do the train system or that truck, I would probably choose the truck with the crane arm on.
Yeah. And I'm surprised that that system has not came back to where the technology of what we got now is they could take a front load body, redesign the top, have a packer in it, and put a crane on it and go around and do bulk pickup with that instead of doing these big dump trucks with the crane. And then you got to go to the landfill, use the crane to pick the stuff out. You're not getting the compaction ratio. And it just blows my mind that we're not.
They kind of do that in Europe though. So have you seen these? Have you seen these rear loaders? Okay, so it's kind of like so. Well, so there's these videos. So these companies, they're mostly municipalities, but they will modify a rear load hopper with a trough system for leaf collection. Right. So you see a lot of this in California. There's been other. You can find videos online. It's kind of cool. So you have basically a front load construction style truck that has a special gripper that the customer will scoop the leaves into the street, and then it basically goes and scoops it up, and then it dumps it into the modified rear load hopper with this trough system in it that and then they'll pack it. But I've actually seen, I believe, in Europe where some companies will actually stick that boom style crane on the top to go after like that bulk collection style method. And that's kind of what Heil got after with their what do they call it? The multi-pack, Anthony? Yeah, the multi-pack. So basically they took a Durapack Python side load body. They ripped the tailgate off, and they stuck a Heil 5000 tailgate on it. So you're essentially getting it's a rear load automated side load combination for handling bulk and carts. And if you look at the original patent for it, they actually had a design for a front load rear load combination, which I thought was cool, but I don't think they ever made that.
Right.
No, I don't think they did either.
So somebody in the comments said that there'd be a lot of people complaining about their grass with that MBR system.
Yeah.
It's no different than those Pell fingers. I mean, you just, if what back then, they didn't have piston pumps and all that fancy technology you got now. So you get a guy who knows what he's doing. That's an operator. He can skim the grass. I've seen those guys pick up stuff, and it's amazing how I think they must have practiced with the claw machines.
I could say it as, oh man, I don't have to mow the grass right at that spot.
Yeah.
Yeah. Even in ASL, we still get people complaining all the time about us scuffing up the lawn or doing something like that all the time because
right.
That's how it is.
Somebody puts it in a spot to purposely scrape your grass.
Customers can't even space the carts, They just shove them right together.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's it. I mean, there's a lot that trashmen deal with the automated trucks.
Yeah.
And to add that in, I mean, that looks a little bit easier because you're just picking up raw bags.
I don't know. I mean, try getting that down some of our country roads. You gotta make them tight turns, to go down fire lanes.
Or our city roads.
Well, I mean, it'd be a little easier in some cities, but not most. I mean, just having that whole trough system out in front of it, to the conveyor system, make those wide swings. I mean, you're going to be taking out a lot of people.
Alex, if you would have seen the video Zach showed last week, it was it last week, Zach, where the thing was on the belt and it picked it up from the ground, or was it the week before? The very first
week before.
What video are you talking about?
It wasn't a video. It was just
talking about the front load. They
had a picture of the truck that picked it up.
Conveyor belt on it, the jumping bean.
Yeah.
Yeah, the jumping bean. Yep.
Yeah, that was a pretty crazy truck right there.
Yeah.
Like, I think it just made messes. I don't think it actually. I think Zach
said well, like I said, they had to have they basically had to have a follow truck just to pick up all the trash from the crap that thing left. I mean, like, if that doesn't scream inefficiency, I don't know what does.
Right.
There's something about efficiency that we love more than inefficiency. Come on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just the designs of these trash trucks has been insane. Like the front load truck that you showed us, where it picks up toters. It's got the one front load arm and it picks up toters. That thing was awesome.
Oh yeah, the Easy Pack, the single arm side loader. Yeah.
Yeah, that thing was awesome, and I think that thing can reach pretty far.
So what's funny is the guy that developed that patent that sold it to Fred Smith at Garwood, there's actually a European version of that truck.
To this day.
Really? It operates a little bit differently. Let me see. Hang on. Let me see if I can find a video and I'll share it really quick.
Because that'd be cool. Like, I mean, I think you can get pretty far out there. What's our reach, Alex? Like 12 feet?
It's 13 on a good day with a little tree.
Right. What's your reach?
On mine is 10 feet.
Oh, it's only 10 feet. I've never seen. So it's funny because I've never seen your arm come out.
Yeah.
I've just seen you lift it up at the shop.
So here's the old saying: a side load driver doesn't need the reach. A good side load driver does not need reach unless you're in between cars, mailboxes, all that, or cul-de-sacs.
I was gonna say unless you're on our routes.
The reason why the 12-foot reach, I think, was designed is because a lot of the municipalities were getting drivers now that didn't want to get out of the truck, and so the push for the longer reach started getting more and more popular. So then the cities, of course, with the unions and how they train the drivers, and then of course the drivers, they don't want to get out 100 times a day picking up cans out of the cul-de-sac, so they want to have the reach.
Mm-hmm.
I'm waiting for them to come out with an arm where you pick up the can, they put it beside your house, make you supper, lunch, and dinner, put you to bed, and everything else.
Yeah,
I think also the leading cause of that too would be the fact that most cities and municipalities don't have any curb space beyond the sidewalk, so they have to reach over the sidewalk to get to the front yard.
Mm-hmm.
That is getting me more in common, and plus you got cars. Like there's more cars now that are on the streets than there used to be because everybody you got families living together now and kids, and there's just a lot of culture change in the last 20 years. You never had to worry about that 20 years ago, but now it's a big deal.
Or you get the people that keep their toters way away from the road, which we get a lot of that.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
They don't know how to put it out to the curb all the way. So
that was a trend at one time where a lot of the smaller garbage haulers would go bid on contracts, and that would be how they would get it: is leave the can up by the driveway, we'll pick it up with our truck, and they would buy 12-foot reach arms, and then they would beat out the competition.
So most of the time with mine,
so to me, it's a marketing gimmick.
Yep.
It's a marketing gimmick.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And if you're a hauler trying to bid on a contract, you see what your competitor's doing, and you just change it up a little bit.
Like if you need a 12-foot reach, you're doing it wrong.
Exactly.
I guess I'm doing it wrong then because I use my full extension most of the time because my guys keep them out.
Well, to a certain situation, you need the 12-foot reach.
I'm a country route
I
driver,
do
though.
see
You know
that.
what I'm saying? So, I mean, most of my customers leave their stuff way up there where I got to basically bring the arm fully out, half grab the can, pick it up, bring it in, set it down, grab it. Then, of course, I'm the nice enough driver that I'm going to put it where I would normally want it, which is only 5 feet from the road. So they don't learn, though. They always put it
So
back.
if you're picking up all
Yeah.
the
So
rules,
basically, what
you
I'm
wanna
hearing
go-
is you suck at training your customers.
Oh.
So,
So you know the best thing.
Alex is going to stop coming to these because
No. You can't train stupid. Sorry. You know what I
coming
mean?
from a
Like,
front load driver.
Oh,
whoa, dang.
wow.
it's easy, man. It's easy.
Wow, shots
Wow.
fired.
Okay.
Front
Okay.
load's easy, you know, if I want to challenge, I'll
Wow.
give you off. You know what I mean? Come
When
on.
was the last time you drove side load on a dedicated route, Anthony? Like Mr. Rear Load?
Last week, actually. Or no, 2
On
weeks ago.
on a dedicated route outside of demo driving.
Oh, that's been a while. I haven't been on
Yeah.
full-time route.
You guys can keep
Yeah.
your
All
out of
right,
cans. I don't want nothing to do with that.
Anyway, I found the video. If you guys want to see it, the European version of that truck.
And
Yeah,
roll.
yes.
Okay, so this is kind of different, but it's the similar concept. So let me.
Is this a WMS system or is this the actual replica of what we saw in that one video?
No, so I can't find a video of that, but here I'll show you. Let me.
Well, it better not be Russian because we don't
This
support
is, I
that.
haven't seen this.
No, this is German.
Oh well, heck yeah, German. Ah, yeah.
Oh man.
Can you guys hear the audio?
I got no audio.
Das ist nicht gut.
Stand by. Sorry. Stop sharing. I will share again. Screen, audio, entire screen. This. Audio?
Negative.
No.
You don't need audio. That's fine.
This is fine.
Well, we'll just have our own commentary. I mean, you just gotta speak in German accents.
I don't know. So how they did it is they basically have like a almost like a load all style A-frame, how they connect it to the carts, and they can pick up 2 at a time.
So no scissors at all. It's all just off of what I want to see the front of that.
I don't know how they connect, like how they anchor the can to where they flip it, upside down that it works. But yeah, this is so this is basically it. This is the European version of this.
Now I wonder if it's like a toto tipper
So
where
you
it
see
has
the lip?
Yep. It's exactly what it looks like.
It is.
They got like a clamp.
Maybe.
I think this.
Yep. It looks like it's basically a version of like a modern toto tipper where they have the hook on the front and then it has like the one that comes out into the bar or the support bar.
That is cool though.
That is identical.
That's
to that easy
literally make sure all your customers are 100% on point with putting their stuff out the right way.
Oh yeah.
Like
you don't want that. You don't want the separation when you put those cans out. I was like, no, I want them as close together as possible so I can.
And if you have one
pick them up
behind the other or backwards, you're like, shit.
Alex, you know, if you got that, they'll just add more stops to you.
9.
Oh, and it looks like he dumps it from the outside, or at least operates the tailgate from the outside with where he's standing.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
There's a lot of Labrie there. If you look at that, that looks identical to the Labrie
Yeah.
system on the back of that.
Oh yeah. So, I have a question for you, garbologists here, since you're so wise and knowledgeable about trucks and manufacturing. When did they start doing the back of the trucks, the tailgate, with the bubble? Because you see in the earlier videos, they're mostly square bodies and they're compacting with those. What made them shift to using the bubble butt?
Okay, say that one more time.
So when was the I want to know when they started moving away from square body dump style to having the tailgate section where it had the curvature to it, the bubble.
For front load.
For any style truck, I want to know why.
Well, so like taking rear load out of this, like you're never gonna have that rounded, right? Okay, so
load and ASLs and all the.
I think a lot of it came with technology leap, and you didn't really see that until the late 70s, early 80s. When the technology kind of came with, okay, hey, now I can develop a rounded style. Like I can take the metal and I can curve it.
Right. But do you know who
efficiently?
Pioneered it,
what's that?
Do you know who pioneered it?
For front load?
It was Dempster, wasn't it?
No. So you saw some of it with Dempster, but it wasn't like what Alex is talking about with like the true curve. Right, it was angled mostly, right? But with the true curve, I don't like when you're so Dempster was you saw a move away in the early 80s from the flat style tailgate where with the barn doors that opened up, and a lot of it had to do with just like hydraulic collection. If you want to talk about like true rounded bodies and the move away from like the square ribbed bodies to what we see today, really the first pioneer for that was Easy Pack with their Hercules. Okay. Honestly, and that was mid 80s, I want to say.
All right.
And wasn't that done to roll the trash?
Right after that.
What's that?
Yeah.
That was done to roll the trash, right?
Correct. Yeah. So a lot of it was, what was the shape of the Packer blade, right? With the bump out front, right? Which helped cause the rollover, right? But then again, you also have to think of, okay, what is the mindset between the East Coast and the West Coast, right? So the West Coast really developed the what we call half pack style of compaction, where you still had the dump body. So the furthest that the blade would ever travel back was maybe a foot or more into it clear the hopper and go into the body, right? Where Dempster, Easy Pack, and your traditional East Coast style of mindset was, okay, I'm going to be able to allow the driver to throw that blade all the way back into the basically up to the tailgate, right? So if the truck is empty, as a driver of an East Coast style full pack front loader, I am my first packs are all the way to the back of the truck, right? And there's even Dempster has some videos of their compaction style where with popcorn, where you're throwing the blade all the way to the back of the body to basically tighten the load. So as the route is going along, the majority of the trash is tightly packed against the back of the body. So you're basically packing tight trash against tight trash, and as you fill up, right, and then they do a comparison of like the half pack style where the blade just clears the hopper and goes slightly into the body, and the load of popcorn isn't as tight as a full extension of the blade. But as we alluded to a couple weeks ago, the more cylinder extensions that you have, basically you can call them legs, you can call them sleeves. I think sleeves is the more appropriate. So the more sleeve components that you have in a cylinder, so Dempster would say, oh, we have 60,000 pounds of compaction force, right, in the video, right? Well, that's just the first stage. As you lengthen the stages and sleeves of the of the compaction, you are exponentially decreasing the compaction power of that cylinder. And that's just physics, right? So would you rather have a larger bore single stage cylinder that offers, say, shits and giggles 120,000 pounds throughout that entire travel of that cylinder that is operating in a half pack style? Or would you rather have a 5-stage multi-cylinder compaction cylinder that, you know, you're only getting that say 120 on that first stage, and then as it's traveling the length of the body, you're exponentially losing. So potentially as you get to that 5th stage, you went from 120 all the way to, let's call it 20,000 pounds worth of compaction force.
Right.
So there's some logic and methodology into how these haulers designed their trucks, and this is true against rear loads when they started putting that compaction blade at the front of the body, to side loads and front loads. So it really depends on the density of the trash, the nature of the trash. You know, West Coast, you didn't really see up until probably the 80s anything larger than a 3-yard container, right? And they would put multiple 3-yard containers at a stop. Whereas the East Coast mindset was, oh, I'll just stick an 8-yard rear or a 10-yard, right? And, you know, maybe it's a lot more rainy out there, so the density of the trash so the density of the stops, the density of the trash that I'm putting into the body, I require that, you know, higher compaction force potentially that may or may not work.
Ohio came out with the half pack front loader, and they kind of took the industry by kind of threw all the competitors off that built garbage trucks. They came with that half pack.
I would say they took all the East Coast competitors by storm.
Right.
Because West Coast have been doing that for years.
Yep.
Yeah. And even the initial, you know, so with AutoPack, which, you know, as technology developed and, you know, the use of solenoids and stuff, like you could have the AutoPack, which really developed in the 70s, where you push a button and the blade did its own thing, right? Well, it's only really doing it in a half pack style methodology, right? So I can remember what I loved about I had a 2008 New Way front loader, and New Way. So quick backstory, talking about Bridgeport. So New Way is a company that had been around since the 70s, right? As a standalone mom and pop owned company. And then John McLaughlin came in and bought them up and turned them into this national national organization that we see today. However, they didn't have a front loader. Well, John McLaughlin went to Tony Curry, owner of Bridgeport, who had an established front loader, and said, hey, can we license copy your front loader? So, and this was in the late 90s, I believe. Don't quote me on that. I haven't read this in a while. Late 90s, early 2000s. So basically, very early New Way front loaders were carbon copies of whatever style of Bridgeport was being made in that era, right? And then New Way kind of branched off and did their thing, and developed the Mammoth into what it is today. But like, I was driving a 2008 Mammoth front loader that had Bridgeport style internal controls, right? It was Aerova hydraulics, but the solenoid system that operated the auto pack, the tailgate, the top door, and all that stuff were solenoid based. So I could trick the packer, if I manually packed the truck, into throwing the blade further into the body, which was great for cardboard, because you know, just doing half pack with cardboard, like I really need that compaction strength. And they used a 3-stage cylinder. That was, I think it was a 9-inch, and then it went down incrementally from that. But like the initial stage was a 9-inch, which provided 120,000 pounds of worth of force. But as I'm throwing the blade back, it allowed me to pack more trash, especially if in the Pacific Northwest in Portland, where it rained a lot, I could get more stops on, essentially.
Right.
And with recycling, it does make sense to have.
Yeah. And I think
know we pack better.
Curb Tender actually offers like a cardboard optimized front loader that I think does a lot of the things that most good cardboard front loaders do today. But with all the technological gizmos and, you know, crap that they're putting on front loaders and garbage trucks today to prevent operators from doing those things, you know, I think it really hampers our ability to like smartly handle our routes, you know.
Right.
Well, they also don't want us overloading our trucks anymore because, you know, DOT regulations and I don't know what it is with modern manufacturing, but the dang spring systems in most of these trucks just don't hold up to the weight anymore. You know, especially when they have a lot of springs get lost, a lot of shocks get broken. You know, Sean, you've had this happen how many times in your truck?
A lot.
Yeah. Well, I've never overloaded a cardboard route.
Well, no.
I mean, I think the most I've ever gotten on a cardboard route with any truck I've ever run was maybe 5 tons. And that's pushing it. And that was when it was wet. Like every stop was wet.
The most I've ever gotten on was 10 with cardboard.
I mean, in my split body,
bragging,
I've got 3.2 on it for. You know,
yeah.
Well,
and you know, automated side load, depending on how they're set up, you know, because you know, most of them are what I would call a quarter pack style, right? So, and when I say quarter pack, I mean the size of the blade, right? So, you know, the true the fist of the packer that is, you know, connecting with the trash is only, you know, a quarter of the height of the entire you know, body of the truck, so to speak, right? So I think Easy Pack has a full pack blade, but they're moving away from their Hercules style because they bought Bridgeport. But like even a McNeilus ZR, a Durapack Heil front loader, like they still only have a blade that comes up a quarter, that's only a quarter of the height of, you know, the body of the truck.
Yep.
Right.
With a follower, right?
Mm-hmm.
So and they don't go all the way in the body anymore either. They just touch the body and go back. I don't know about yours, Alex. I don't know how far yours goes.
So it sounds about like that far from the actual body itself. So it'll pack it, but it's only about that far from actually going inside of it. So
I would imagine that's probably the length of the first stage of the cylinder.
Right. That's crazy.
Yeah, because mine's a full eject system, so it should potentially be able to go further. But how they have it programmed is it's literally that.
Yeah, exactly.
I can still fit on 16 tons on a good day. So
yeah, but like ideally, you would want that thing to go in probably, you know, call it 6 to 8 inches as a woman measures it into the body.
Hey, no one's ever complained about that, all right? You know what I'm saying? So what you're saying is garbage trucks are growers, not showers.
Yes. Well, the packing mechanism.
Yeah.
It's all about the force.
I'm sure that's what she says.
And the consistency.
Wow.
Wow.
Me on the
You're not live.
You know what I'm saying?
That's okay.
Or anything. I mean,
we're all garbage, man.
Right. It's freaking great.
It's not like when we had Anthony's son on and I was making, you know, gay jokes and lesbian jokes. Come on now.
I know. Just destroyed it.
Yeah, it's okay. He needs to cut his hair. Colin needs to cut his hair. Tell Colin needs to cut his hair, Anthony.
Man, he's wrestling Jesus.
He
You can't have him
won't.
cut his hair.
Hey, wrestling Jesus. God, did you guys see the video of him getting thrown in the back of Anthony's truck?
Bid that
No, I
dumpster.
didn't.
Yeah, I seen it.
Yeah,
Pretty
Sean
funny.
doesn't show
I
me any of
sent
these
that to
things. He needs to be in
Sean.
the dungeon.
Well, maybe
Yeah,
if you
Alex stays in
participated
the
more,
dungeon.
Alex.
Oh, I got to participate now. Is that what it is?
I mean, you have the trophy, so
Oh, yeah. The trophy system. Oh, my God. I hate that. If you're
Alex,
a loser, you're a loser. If you're a winner,
Alex-
you're a winner.
Alex, did you get any plaques?
Did I get any weight plaques? No.
Did you get any plaques?
No. I think I got an IOU. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
nice.
So, Anthony, one thing I know about your setup is you might want to move closer to your mic because you're kind of like silent almost. Like I gotta be almost on top of this thing where I'm talking to it.
I don't. My mic's on my headset.
Oh,
Yeah, it's built in.
Oh, okay. Well, then, like hello.
It's okay. Maybe we need to invest with all the money we're making from our YouTube channel into a good headset with a microphone for Anthony that actually has a boom mic that
I'm
he
gonna
can.
look at a different headset. I'm not real fond of this one.
Yeah.
Or
It's all trial and error, though.
Or just like me, I have to raise my voice when talking to my microphone. I'm only 2 inches from it. So
I'm not your kid, Alex. You don't have to scream at me.
well, I mean, you are the redhead stepchild, so
Valid.
Wow.
That is valid.
Alex, what do we?
Or as Patrick would say over in Australia, yeah, ranga. No, ranga. People that bang rangas are ranga bangers.
Yeah.
No, they're called gingers, Alex.
Yeah, whatever. Whatever.
Alex don't know.
It's okay.
Alex is just learning.
Cool. Well, that's all I had for you guys tonight, video wise.
Yeah, I mean, it's all definitely like learning, like.
Well, I mean, I got a crap ton more videos we can go through. So
Yeah.
But I think for tonight,
I think I'm all well. I think
I want some more side load love. Come on, I'm feeling left out over here. I see front load. I see these weird grabby trucks. I want some ASLs in here. Come on. Now.
Do you want to do the history of the birth of the automated side loader next week, Alex?
No, I mean, you work for Bridgeport. I think you got this.
I worked.
I said worked.
Yeah. Okay. You know what, Alex? Next week we're going to talk about the city of Scottsdale.
That's fine.
All that stuff.
That's fine. I mean, I'm just saying.
If you'll come.
I wouldn't even care if it's a Bridgeport we're showcasing because I mean.
Well, I mean, Bridgeport didn't create their first front loader or automated side loader until 1992. So
I mean, that's kind of like basically when it started, right?
No, it started in 1968.
Yeah, I doubt that. That's too old.
You doubt that?
Oh,
you doubt that?
Knowledge.
Pics, no proof, right? You know what I'm saying?
Oh, I have pictures.
Oh, so you go back to
but they're based on front loaders.
Oh, yes. I want true and blue side load. I want the automated arm. None of this tipper crap. No, I don't want none of these front loaders with a grabber arm. I want real ASLs.
Can somebody tell Alex what they're called?
What we could do is we could do like what Hiles got, Labrie, McNilius, Bridgeport, New Way. Just kind of show each one what's unique about it.
Well, you're either gonna have a dedicated arm or you're gonna have an offset arm, right? So that's really the style choices that we have now. Love them or hate them, right? So when I say offset arm or so like Bridgeport, I would consider a body mounted arm, right? And then everybody else is pretty much so you talk about the Heil Rapid Rail, the Wayne curb tender or curb tender arm. Those would be offset arms, and then direct arm would be, offset arm would also be like the Heil Rapid Rail and the Durapack arm. Direct arms would be like the Labrie, Atomizer, McNeilus, and Pendapec style candy cane arm, right? Where it's coming out straight from the body, but they're still chassis mounted arms. But realistically, they had to start with what they had, right? So, believe it or not, front load was initially developed and designed to do residential waste.
Okay.
It was.
Yeah,
It was, most of the original front loaders from 1952 and 1953 were fixed buckets on an arm designed for residential collection, and the reason for that was low loading height. Right, because rear load
climbing out of that damn thing. Did they have steps on the bucket or something?
Yes.
The front of that bucket, house to house.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
So, and that was Southern California.
Here we go.
There you go. So, but the commercial aspect of that is really where Dempster came in, and people just kind of like made the connection of like, oh, if I can detach the container, I can leave the container at, and then that's what sparked the explosion of the different connection style method.
Sorry, but you're admitting that front load started with residential first.
Yes.
Gotcha.
That's a fact.
Got him. We got him, Sean. Zach's closet, a closet resident guy.
You brought him out, Alex. You brought him out.
All right. Well, I mean, two gingers, you know what I'm saying? Like, we got to sit together.
There you go. I wrote a whole article about this, by the way.
Alex can't read though.
Yeah,
That's
I mean,
published.
I'm a Neanderthal, so like, if it ain't got pictures, I can't do it.
I have pictures in my article.
Ooh.
Yeah, but no. So actually, what's cool is that the city of Scottsdale kind of has this historical video that we can review next week, and I can kind of go into. We could do a deep dive beyond that. So they talk about how it's Scottsdale specifically, and even just like southern Arizona where it's hot as crap. Like you're talking about 110 degree days of manual garbage collection. Like that train system is something that city of Tulsa, city of Scottsdale, Phoenix, everybody in Arizona pretty much use that. But their problem was like we can't keep helpers to like manually throw trash in this, right? So we got to come up with it, and that's where Mark Straker came in. He's like, I do. There's got to be a better way that we can skin this cat, right? So they actually and so they developed the automated side loader through use of government grants to develop the initial Godzilla truck, which was a modified load-all front loader with Holmes over the wheel arm, which is pretty crazy. But they talk about how they use the train system, how they use rear loaders, and then how that developed into the second iteration through a government grant into the city, into the Son of Godzilla, which was a partnership with George Morrison of Western Body and Hoist out of LA, using the Westco Jet front loader, that truck that I paused the video, the first video that we watched with the split cab arm, basically modifying that as a template for developing an automated arm, and then even pioneering the use of a joystick. They used a helicopter joystick to move that thing around in an air conditioned cab. It's wild. I can nerd out all day long next week about the history of automated trucks, if that's what you want.
Oh yeah,
Alex, would that make you happy?
Oh, that would make me extremely.
Would that make you shave your beard?
Hell no.
Okay.
Damn.
I've been growing this thing for 6 years. I'm gonna just chop it off for one video. You gotta admit to it. You know what I'm saying? Like,
it's gotta be 2 videos. 2 videos, it's gone.
What about just the top of the head?
No,
you leave the beard.
I already got a haircut.
Yeah, but I'm talking like.
No, I'm not going bald. I normally go bald in the summer, so you can see that when we get there. You know what I'm saying?
Okay. All
Yeah.
right. That's
But
fine.
I might have to put some I don't know, grease in it or something whatever, so it doesn't
It's
shine.
called gel, but
So he does his comb over better.
Yeah, I like my comb over. Thank you. It hides the bald spots.
yeah, it's okay. What you have here, Sean has here.
Yeah.
Well, what I have here, Sean can't grow. So
Wow.
Joe Dirte.
Wow. Nice of you, buddy.
Cool. All right. Well, hey guys, thanks for coming out.
Yep.
Hopefully this was educational. That's
Also-
what the point of all these podcasts are. Talk about the history. Hopefully you enjoy the banter. But yeah,
It's Friday's Valentine's Day. I will not be here.
Like, comment, subscribe. We'll check you guys later.
Yep.
No, don't fool me again, Sean. Like every time you hit the stop record button, I'm always still recording on YouTube.
It's done. All right, we're good.
No, I'm still showing video. I'm not making no jokes this time.
Okay.